Hey guys, I'm Sam with Fall Obsession, and we've teamed up with Elite Archery to bring you a brand new series that is going to make you a better bow hunter. So settle in, get ready, and welcome to Kure Your Obsession. Follow me. So we're going to talk about arrow rest real quick. So like I said over there, the next step is going to be getting you an arrow rest and getting the draw length and draw width set. So as far as the arrow rest that I recommend, what we're going to put on there for you is a UAD, drop away rest. So this is probably my favorite rest in the industry. It can work for experienced or entry level bow hunter. What it does is your arrow will sit in this little cradle right here, and when you draw back, this is going to be tied to one of these cables that is going to come in a downward motion, and this is going to pull this back to where it's up like that, and then when you release, it's going to drop out of the way, allowing your arrow to clear it without any contact with the rest itself. Okay. So this is one of the most accurate arrow rests on the market today. I love QAD, make an excellent product. It is a little bit more on the higher price point for those guys who are looking at numbers, but it's well worth it. It's an arrow rest that will last you your entire lifetime of bow hunting. Oh, so and
worth it.
Yes, very worth it.
All right.
We're gonna put this on there and get the rest of your stuff set up.
Okay.
So I'm gonna stick it in this vise right here. Okay. So this first step is just going to be actually putting it on there, and then from there we'll get the level and everything set because we want the rest to be level with your loop. So, gotcha. So this is the standard QAD that anybody can buy. One size fits all bows pretty much. The only difference between this and an Elite brand QAD or another bow brand QAD is just that this portion is specifically designed to fit that bow brand, if you will, to fit the riser. So the standard can pretty much work with most any bow. Gotcha. So we're just putting the standard on there for now, and if we want to change it out for an Elite brand at some point, we can.
Yep.
So we're going to stick this on here like this, and now we're going to go over here to the bow press. We're going to put it in, and we're going to run this cable into your string. That way we can get it set up. So on your bow, you have your string, and then these two right here referred to as your cables. So when you draw back your bow, one of these cables is going to go up, and the other is going to go down.
Okay.
The one that is going down, which is this one right here, is the one that we're going to tie this into.
So it can provide
that way
tension.
It pulls the tension in a downward motion.
Okay.
These QADs come with, if you just buy one online or something like that, they come with a little clip that you can put on here that guys, for them to do it at home by themselves without a bow press. I always recommend this is a much more precise way of doing it by putting it in the bow itself. So I always recommend going to a local bow shop, wherever you might be, and having a bow tech run that through the cable. You can bring your bow and your rest into most any bow shop, and they will be able to do that for you. So I always recommend doing that. So since we're running it through the cable itself, we need to tie a little piece of what we call serving. Serving is this right here, like what the arrow is going to knock onto, for example. Okay. We're going to tie just a little piece right here to keep it from sliding up in that cable, since there's nothing to stop it really. So.
Less expensive than the one thing about it is a little pricing. The Muzzy's called an LBX. Yeah, Muzzy's called an LBX if you want to look at it online.
Different guys tie this different ways. I simply go kind of one way and then the other. All right, so some guys go shorter, some guys go longer.
He didn't even know about
the other. Do something about that right there. And then we'll take it and we'll cut it and we'll burn it and move on. So that right there is going to hold your cable. So now we're going to take the tension off.
I'm just going to get a piece put in and
we're going to split it.
We need to do that for sure.
Just gonna run this through it. Pull tension.
hold it in place.
Let the tension off the bow. And we'll slide it up a little bit. There we go. So this might still need to be adjusted, which we'll test that out here in just a second to make sure that it's the proper length and pulling tension at the appropriate time. So one thing that we want to avoid with this rest in particular is when it drops, it hitting your shelf. This right here is called the shelf.
Okay.
If it hits the shelf, there's a tendency sometimes it can bounce and come in contact with your arrow as it's leaving the bow. So all that we're going to do, if it needs to be adjusted, is we're going to take this screw right here and just slide it up just slightly. We'll do this before we tie your D-loop.
Okay.
We'll loosen that, bring it up just slightly so there's just a little bit of room. Tighten it back down. Now we got just a little bit of clearance so that it's not going to bounce off that shelf.
Okay.
So now I'm going to take your arrow, or a arrow. If you already have your own arrow, sometimes it works best to do it with your own diameter and arrow. Otherwise, just a standard diameter can work. So we're going to put that on there. We have a level here we're going to put on the arrow. And then we're going to use this right here to the bow level straight up and down.
Okay.
So now, pretty close. We're going to get this level spot on. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a Sharpie and mark where your knock on this arrow is on your string.
Okay.
So I put 2 marks on here, one for the top, one for the bottom. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a very small piece of serving, kind of like what we tied here for your cable.
Okay.
I'm going to put one on top and one on bottom. What this is going to do is prevent something we call Nock Pinch. So when your arrow is knocked right here and you draw it back, especially with somebody like you who is probably going to have a longer draw length, a longer draw length is going to make that string angle more severe. So this right here is going to keep the 2 knots basically on your D-loop from pinching down on your arrow. So it's just going to help you a little bit more with accuracy long term.
Okay.
All right, so when we start your D-loop, we're going to start off with a little knob on the end to hold it in, and then when we get it all the way done, we'll put one on the other end once it's tied. So here, now I go this way. So whichever direction you start your D-loop with, you want to go the opposite on the bottom side. I always go top then bottom. Some guys do it the other way. That's just personal preference.
Yes.
Yeah, so with a more severe draw angle, these 2 knots can pinch on the arrow, and these 2 little knobs of serving that we tied are just to prevent that from happening.
Gotcha. Okay.
So when we do the bottom side here, I always give myself plenty of material to work with. And then when we do the bottom side, we're going to hub this thing up as close as we can. We're not going to make our full loop.
Okay.
We're going to hug this thing up as close as we can and get it tight, because then we're going to pull tension to tighten it, and when we pull tension, it'll pull to the appropriate length if we hub it up like this right here.
Gotcha. So you're essentially leaving enough room so when we put that tension, it's going to stretch that material out and create the loop.
Correct. Between what you're going to gain from it tightening and it stretching, you're going to have your loop.
Gotcha.
There are specific tools for this portion too.
Okay.
And with it tight like this, you kind of got to
work it in.
wedge it in there, work it in. But we'll work it in there like that, and then we'll pull it tight. And there's our D-loop.
Okay.
Nice and tight. You don't want these to be too long. You don't want them to be hubbed up. So with making it as flat as you can when you initially tie it and then spreading it out, I found that it really truly works best to get the appropriate length.
Okay.